Hello.
You arrived by train, I see.
Yes, I've come from Valladolid.
It's been a long time since I've seen a train here. Students, did you bring students with you?
No, I traveled alone. Well, almost alone.
I remember around the start of fall, trains would bring kids from all around the world here to study zoology and botany, paleontology, and all that stuff. This was a great university.
And it isn't still great today, then?
Today? Well,
Have you been the station master of Barrockstadt for a long time?
I've never had another job. Now, you tell me, are you in charge of this train?
No, I'm not sure.
So what's your thing here? You come here to do some bookworming over at the university?
Well, sort of. I'm always looking for new information.
Well, you don't seem to know a lot. And about that train, it's gonna get in the way if you leave it there, that's for sure.
In fact, I'm a lawyer and I'm conducting a pretty unusual investigation.
Investigation, huh? Hey, I'm just a station master. I don't know too much about anything.
Well, you never know. Anybody could be significant in this case.
See, nobody actually tells me anything, so my hands are totally clean.
I never implied they weren't. I feel like I've lost my way a little here. I could really do with your help.
Hey, anything I can do, miss, you just let me know.
The name Hans Vorarlberg doesn't mean anything to you by chance, does it?
Oh, do you really think I'd remember one little name from the thousands that pass through this station?
I'm sorry to junk up your station like this, but the spring mechanism on my train needs winding.
A spring-operated locomotive. There's a thing.
Yeah, and an impractical thing, too.
Yeah, I always dreamed of taking a train, but now I'm over the hill. And someone has to take care of the birds, after all.
All these birds in a station. It's amazing.
This is no ordinary station, miss. Oh, no. These birds are part of the prestigious University of Barrockstadt Ornithological Collection. Over the years, this aviary has housed some of the most fantastic species from all over the world. And I am not exactly your typical station master either. This little world is my responsibility, and that is no easy task.
I can well believe you.
And you know what's the hardest? The hardest thing is to keep interspecial harmony. And one day some explorer introduced a couple of cuckoos from the Amazon. Whoa!
It wasn't a good idea?
A nightmare! You know, cuckoos lay their eggs in the nests of other species, right? Now, what's more, they also push the host's eggs out of the nest so that they receive all the mother's attention, right? Accursed cuckoos. Nightmare.
I see what you mean. That's one tricky bird. And there was nothing you could do to stop it?
The faculty declared the bird a protected species. If it wasn't for our mechanical eagle, we were sitting on a major ornithological catastrophe.
You have an automaton here?
A wonder of technology. It's an eagle that's mounted on rails in the air. It passes through and it swoops down to collect parasite eggs. But heck, the dang eagle's been out of order for several years. Impossible to collect the eggs myself.
Why not?
I can't climb up the gangway. I fell off it several months back and I still have a pain in my spine. Not to mention the vertigo I've been getting. I only have to look up in the air. Whoa.
You poor soul. That must be very hard.
Worst thing is, cuckoo eggs piling up in the nests. Soon the rectors are gonna notice. There's trouble in store, big trouble. Oh, I'm worried. Yep, worried.
I won't disturb you any longer, Mr. Station Master.
Welcome to Barrockstadt, miss.
thing looks like the winding machine I used in the Valladolid station. I've got to find a way of getting the train up here.
Kate Walker! Kate Walker! Come over here, please! I have something to say to you!
Yes, Oscar, what is it?
A message has arrived for you.
A message?
You have been summoned to see the rectors. They are the highest authority at the university. They want to talk to you.
Talk to me?
Yes, to the person responsible for the train.
So, I'm in charge now, sure, okay. But why would these gentlemen want to see me at all?
They do not say why, just that it's very important.
Hello.
Hey, baby, you party? You sure looking mighty fine. Love those big, round eyes.
Just who do you think you are?
Hey, spunky. I'd like that in a lady. Okay, I'm hooked. Come on, Zol. I'll let you buy me that coffee.
I don't remember ever asking.
Hey, don't play hard to get. I know you like it big time.
Listen, kid. Go back home and play with your toy cars and forget you ever saw me. Good day to you, gentlemen.
Tell me, young lady, to what do we owe this pleasure?
Please do be brief. We do not have very much time on our hands. As rectors of this university, we have serious matters to attend to and our time is precious.
I have heard you wish to meet the owner of the train that is currently in your station. May I know the reason for your summons?
We are surprised that your train has not yet left, miss. The situation is most regrettable.
The rules do clearly state that trains are meant to come and go and not remain stationary at a platform.
Trains should first stop, then subsequently leave. That is the rule.
We agree then, dear colleagues, that what we're dealing with is deviant behavior.
This matter really is cause for concern.
It's a clockwork train, you see? So it needs winding up again. Unfortunately, there is no equipment in the station to do this.
A clockwork train? That's strange.
How very quaint. You mean it's some sort of mechanical toy?
You are causing a hindrance to us, miss.
I am very hopeful that I will find what I need along the wall.
The wall? Miss, that really is not a suitable place for you to go.
Especially for a young lady.
You see, miss, we freely admit that every day we praise the existence of that particular edifice. We owe the integrity of our dear university and the fine education it provides to the wall.
It protects us from harm and invasion from the unknown.
May God protect us from what is beyond those ramparts, miss. Please believe me.
I don't have any choice. I must continue my journey.
Such a decision is a correct one since it's in line with regulations.
Thus, your train will indeed be able to leave.
And consequently cease to obstruct our station.
I haven't introduced myself. My name is Kate Walker.
Walker, haven't we already had a Miss Walker? Ethnology Masters, September 1953, if my memory serves me correctly.
Perfectly well, my dear colleague. But if I may be so bold, it was a Mr. Walker and not a Miss. It was Bill Walker, sat the June '68 exams. The impudent fool turned up for the oral assessment in jeans, flouting strict internal regulations which explicitly state the required uniform for the occasion.
Pure incitement. It was scandalous. Sadly, we have seen worse since. Young people lack all respect of traditional values.
Tradition, young lady. One must always uphold tradition.
You see, I didn't actually intend to stop here, but the springs of my train gave up, you see?
No, not really. You mean to say you're not a student?
You have arrived a little late in the term, miss. Enrollment for this year has already terminated.
But as rectors of this university and therefore representatives of its highest authority, we could bend the rules a little, if you like.
You don't understand. I'm a lawyer from New York, or rather Valladolid more precisely. My client wants to buy out an old mechanical toy factory, but its heir isn't actually dead and is living somewhere in Syberia. I've got to get to him to sign the sales contract. You see?
Not really. This is a most peculiar tale.
A kerfuffle of the highest order.
We have an excellent law school, if you should ever change your mind.
Can you possibly help me out here?
Miss, your insistence is almost verging on indecency.
We cannot constantly be at your disposal. We have many other requests to attend to.
If you don't mind, could you not disturb us all the time? Thank you.
Does the name Hans Vorarlberg mean anything to you by chance?
Ah, one of the brightest, most idealistic intellects to have graced our university. Hans Vorarlberg. I remember speaking to him once. I was still a student at the time. He just stared at me, lost in thought for a while. He scarcely ever said a word. But how can one forget him?
Idealistic? I'll grant you that. But bright? Oh, don't go too far. He was completely incapable of passing any exams. All he ever did was to sit in on lessons, and not many of them either. Paleontology, mainly. He had an unhealthy passion for mammoths, which matched the state of his intellect perfectly. That is to say, prehistoric.
Prehistoric? How dare you? A little far-fetched, maybe. But he did have flashes of intellectual brilliance, comprehensible only to high-minded scholars who hold no score by appearances. My dear colleague, your hasty conclusions are somewhat cavalier.
My assessment is wholly accurate. The boy was a little odd. You must concur if my father, who was rector of the university at the time, had not shown great indulgence towards him. Hans Vorarlberg would have never attended this establishment.
What about the bandstand, then? Is that the work of a deranged mind? Even after all these years, you are still jealous of it.
My dear colleagues, I beseech you, let's show some decorum. We have a visitor. What do you want with Hans Vorarlberg, miss? Are you a member of his family?
No, not at all. I'm looking for him to clear up an inheritance matter. Is he still here?
What? Here? At the university? No, not at all. He left a long time ago. Yes, a very long time ago. The very year I was nominated to this position, in fact. Almost 50 years ago already.
The poor soul moved on once he learned all he needed to know about mammoths.
Ah, this establishment was never quite the same after his departure, it must be said.
You mean to say it was never as bad? All that oddball brought to this university was his misplaced fantasies.
Gentlemen, let's try to retain the calm and level-headedness that befits our position.
Excuse me.
Miss, we find ourselves terribly put out by the presence of your train in our station and by its recurrent immobility.
Indeed, the situation is very regrettable. Your huge locomotive is very cumbersome.
A train should first stop, then subsequently leave. That is the rule.
That idea of the station aviary is really very original.
It's the pride of our university. One of the specialties taught here is zoology, you see, and more particularly, ornithology. Proper study and instruction should not be limited to books. Observation of living matter is indissociable from theoretical questions.
It contains some very rare specimens that have been brought back from faraway, exotic countries, especially for our university, by the world's most intrepid explorers.
Do you remember Alexander Valenbois and his peculiar bird?
Absolutely. His gift produced some very embarrassing long-term consequences.
A poison chalice indeed. It must be said the situation could have been much worse, however.
Oh, yes, it could have been terribly problematic.
Here we are, busy chatting, and look at the clock. It's tea time.
Already? My word, doesn't time fly by?
Thank you for a charming visit, miss.
And thank you, gentlemen. Excuse me. Sir, please, just a moment.
Yes, what is it? I'm not deaf, you know.
I am sorry to disturb you in your work, sir, but...
This young Mammothus primigenius is barely 40,000 years old. Fantastic, wouldn't you say, miss?
Yes. Probably.
What do you mean, probably?
I don't know.
You don't know? Oh, you don't know, I see. What can I do for you, my dear child?
To tell you the truth, I don't know very much about mammoths, and I'm not here as a student. In fact, I'm a lawyer.
It's all right. Nobody's perfect. All the same, the study of the Pleistocene period is fascinating.
I'm sure it is, but I'm sorry to say my current mission is totally monopolizing my time. Another time, maybe.
Ah, that's what they all say. But anyway, let me present myself. I'm Cornelius Ponce, Emeritus Professor and Lecturer at the University of Barrockstadt. I'm proud to say that I'm head of the Department of Paleozoology at our university.
Kate Walker. Pleased to meet you. It wasn't really my intention to stop off here, but I'll confess, this university is really very impressive.
Ah, indeed. There's such a tradition of learning here. So much knowledge, a real depth of culture, intelligence, and gray matter. I myself did my studies here and never left.
Actually, I'm here because I've been summoned by the rectors of the university.
Oh, I see. You must have made a mistake on your enrollment form.
Oh, no. I haven't come here to study. I have an important matter of inheritance to attend to. I have to find the heir.
And you hope you will find him here?
I'm not altogether sure. But you see, my train broke down coming into Barrockstadt station.
In that case, my dear, you must come to one of my lectures. Here's a question for you. Do you know what the Proboscidean order is?
The Probo-whatian?
I see. There are gaps in your knowledge that need refreshing.
I feel I've lost my way a little here. I could really do with your help.
Oh, my dear child, you've chosen your moment. I absolutely must finish off my lecture for this afternoon.
It's a lecture about mammoths?
Oh, yes and no. More specifically, it is about their migration. Do excuse me, I need to concentrate.
To tell you the truth, I'm looking for Mr. Hans Vorarlberg. He's the sole heir of a very unusual factory. My company is in charge of negotiations for the takeover of this factory. At last word, he was living in Syberia. So, as soon as my train is ready, I'll be continuing my journey eastwards.
Syberia. Ah, Syberia. But what was it you said again?
Said what?
You mentioned a name. The person you are looking for.
Vorarlberg. Hans Vorarlberg. Do you know him?
Hans Vorarlberg. How could I forget him? Such an extraordinary fellow. So inventive. We shared a passion for mammoths, you know, and we bonded over this passion. Without it, I confess, I would have had little to do with an odd, ageless retard like Hans. At the time, we were both students. Well, sort of. Put it this way. Hans had special permission to attend paleontology lectures. You see, he didn't really have the necessary qualifications. In exchange, Hans did a few odd jobs around the university.
Your Hans Vorarlberg sounds uncannily like the one I'm looking for.
I'm not sure, my dear. Hans was above all questions of money and business. Just to imagine him running a factory, perish the thought.
Can you tell me a little bit more about him?
He was always a mystery to me. He never said very much, never quite seemed to grasp what you said to him. He expressed himself instead through his incredible mechanical contraptions. His inventions, I admit, have been much appreciated by the university. The few times we really did talk, it was about his strange interest for mammoths and a doll. Some sort of doll that obsessed him.
A doll, you say?
Yes. He kept talking about it. One day he described it to me. A sort of children's toy. A miniature mammoth mounted by a mount. It appears he found it in a cave not far from his home. The event all sounds very dramatic. His account was slightly confused, but it awoke a great interest in me.
What do you mean?
To my knowledge, there is only one tribe who made figurines featuring a mouth, and that tribe is the Yukols. They live in the farthest reaches of Syberia, and for them, the dolls constituted a sacred object, illustrating one of their central legends. How such a doll made the journey from the frozen Siberian north to a cave in the French Alps is a mystery to me. Even today, it is beyond my comprehension.
Have you considered that Hans Vorarlberg was maybe making it up? You said yourself he didn't seem to have all his mental facilities intact.
No, that's impossible. Hans couldn't invent a story like that. The doll is a sacred part of the Syberia legend. He described it to me in exact detail. Syberia itself is a chimera that paleontologists of the world are very fond of pursuing.
Arriving in Barrockstadt is an amazing experience. I've never seen such a station.
You came by train?
Yes, in a kind of clockwork train with a spring mechanism that winds down regularly.
You mean you drive a train? Young ladies of today never cease to amaze me.
Oh, no, I'm not the engineer. The train's engineer is actually an automaton. I am sorry, all this probably sounds very strange.
A clockwork train, driven by an automaton. I once knew a man long ago who could have invented such a train. It was he who designed the bandstand in the main square. To think that he was even capable of creating such a gadget. He was astounding, a true genius. But oddly, at the same time, he was also almost a child. It was as if his mental and physical evolution had definitively halted at the age of 10. Can you believe that?
Yes. I think I can believe that. At least I'm beginning to. My train stopped in a peculiar aviary. It's very odd. A lot of bird species seem to seek harbor there.
Ornithology is far from being my favorite subject, but I must concede that the station is the pride of the university. It was initially intended for teaching purposes, but then birds started arriving from all around the world. It seems that there are still rare species breeding there and flourishing.
Are there? Can you give me an example?
I have been told about a kind of bird with peculiar habits. Let's see now, the Amazon cuckoo, that's right. But, I'm so foolish, I can't remember what was so special about it. Just that its behavior is very peculiar.
The Amazon? Where's the Amazon? What is the Amazon?
I'm sorry, my dear, but one cannot learn everything in a lifetime. Specialization is the key to real knowledge. Why don't you pay a visit to our library?
Thank you very much. I'll leave you in peace. I hope I haven't disturbed you too much.
Sorry? No, not at all, my dear child.
Hello?
So, you got him then, this air?
Ah, it's you, Mr. Morrison. Good day, and how are you, sir?
I'll feel a whole lot better when this whole business is over and the sales contract is signed. Where the hell are you?
I'm in Barrockstadt.
What? What in God's name are you doing there?
It's a magnificent university town. It would appear Hans Vorarlberg once passed by here several years ago.
So if he isn't there anymore, then there's no point hanging around.
I hear what you're saying, sir, but I have good reason to believe that Hans Vorarlberg is still alive. For the time being, I'm trying to gather extra information from people who have known him.
What's your next destination?
I'm not exactly sure yet.
Doesn't sound like you know too much, Kate.
I just need a bit of time, Mr. Morrison.
Yeah, well, time is what you ain't got. Keep me posted.
Hey there! On the boat!
Guten Tag, schöne Mademoiselle.
My husband say, "Hello, young lady. You want to talk to us?"
My name is Kate Walker. And I'm a lawyer. I'm in charge of this train. This situation is really very new to me.
Lawyer, good job. Earn lot of money.
A lot? A lot? No, I wouldn't go that far. But I can't really complain, I guess. There's worse.
Lawyer always ask a lot of money.
Can we change the subject, please? I really don't want to go down this road. I just met with the university rectors, and they ordered me to remove my train out of their station. I mean, it's a total joke. How do you remove a train that can't move in the first place? You don't have any ideas, do you?
We know nothing of train. You up your own creek.
Your generosity warms my heart. I have a little problem with my train. It's kind of broken. I've absolutely got to get it out of the station. Do you think you could tow it over to the wall with your barge?
Lock closed. Barge blocked.
But if the locks were open, would it be okay to tow my train then?
Por qué no? More money for that sverk.
Da, it's possible. My husband say we help you if you give money.
Right. And how much do you want?
Cinquante.
He want $150.
$150? I don't have that much.
No money, no barge.
Let me offer you $75.
Nay, $125.
Out of the question. $100 and not a dime more.
Correct. You have barge for $100.
Great. Now, don't move. I'll be back as quick as possible with the money. You must really get to see the countryside. Do you know New York at all?
We no understand.
I'm looking for a funny little man who is supposed to live in Syberia. Can you imagine that? Syberia. I expect you've already been there.
Si vraga come to Syberia?
Syberia? No. Too cold. Barge no break ice.
I hope my train isn't too big for your barge.
Tis okay. Motorboat erste Klasse.
My husband say correct. Powerful motor.
I mean, we're not exactly very far from the winding machine, are we? It's dumb, isn't it, all this effort to go a few yards?
Put train in barge? Nay, not possible.
Have you gone down to take a look around the station yet? It's amazing. You know, it's full of exotic birds.
Me to moigir? Ja. Ja, met plezier.
We no leave boat. Husband is land sick.
It's not very polite of you to take advantage of my predicament. We could have done favors for each other, for free, out of solidarity.
Father, Allah speak not full. Money, ja, break full.
Excuse me?
My husband say need money for leave. $100 not lot for fancy lady like you.
How would you know a fancy lady like me, really? I'll leave you to it. I won't disturb you again.
До свидания.
Excuse me. Can I disturb you a second?
No.
You could be a little bit nicer about it.
Keep quiet. In case you haven't noticed, we're somewhere that requires silence and tranquility.
Gentlemen, forgive me for disturbing you again, but I have a little problem.
A little problem, a little problem. Everyone has little problems now, you know.
They are kept to oneself, and they don't stop the world from turning.
Nor trains from leaving stations.
You wouldn't know if there is any Forest Sauvignon here in Barrockstadt, would you?
Absolutely.
When he says absolutely, he means, of course, absolutely none.
What we mean, of course, is that we are absolutely positive there is no Forest Sauvignon here in Barrockstadt.
Really? Are you sure? Because I read in a book that Barrockstadt possesses a number of plants. I wouldn't mind getting a hold of some if possible.
Out of the question, miss.
The assistant rector means to say that our priority is for you to remove your train from our station. Your research will have to wait until your next stop.
Yes, that's right. Your train must leave the station immediately, so please refrain from wasting our time in needless visitations.
Don't forget the regulations, miss. Don't forget them. Trains should first stop, then subsequently leave. And quickly!
You see, I didn't actually intend to stop here, but the springs of my train gave up, you see?
No, not really.
You have arrived a little...
Can you possibly help me out here?
Miss, your insistence is almost verging on indecency.
We cannot constantly be at your disposal. We have many other requests to attend to.
If you don't mind, could you not disturb us all the time? Thank you.
Some sailors have agreed to tow the train, but I don't have enough money to pay them. I was wondering if you could help me out. For a while. I could work for the money.
Please wait, miss. We have certain confibulations to attend to.
That is right. We must confibulate between ourselves. A collegiate decision must be taken.
I hope that we are not indisposing you in any way.
Why not?
If it helps us get rid of that train.
My word, that is a fine idea.
What do you have in mind, gentlemen?
When you arrived here, You must have noticed a splendid bandstand which honors the main university courtyard.
A unique piece of mechanical craftsmanship which no longer works, alas.
Why, yes, we have very moving memories of its melodies. We're prepared to offer you a financial reward if you can set it working again.
With pleasure. What do I have to do?
Unfortunately, my dear, time and rust have taken their toll on this university, and our automatons no longer have a spring in their step. You are going to have to be resourceful.
To tell you the truth, there are a number of complex mechanisms here in Barrockstadt, and it would appear that we have unfortunately lost their operating instructions.
Your train, however, is an extremely ingenious invention, so you should be no stranger to complex mechanisms, should you? We are therefore counting on your ingenuity, miss.
I hope that I can show myself worthy of your faith in me, gentlemen.
Well, my dear colleagues, one more university matter nicely tied up.
Here we are, busy chatting, and look at the clock. It's tea time.
Already? My word, doesn't time fly by?
Thank you for a charming visit, miss.
And thank you, gentlemen. Do excuse me, Professor. Professor, sorry to disturb you again.
What is it you want to know, miss?
If I were to say Forest Sauvignon to you, what would you say?
Oh, let's see. Sauvignon. Sauvignon? I would say it's some kind of tropical shrub, don't you think?
We are talking about the same plant, then. It is a very rare shrub with small, juicy fruits. I found a book about the Amazon, and it says that there are even Sauvignon plants growing right here in Barrockstadt. You wouldn't know where, would you?
Amazon Sauvignon plants here? No. No, I don't think there are any. Hardly implausible, but you should ask the station master. He is keeper of the greenhouse at our university, so he could tell you more than me.
Oh, thanks very much. I'll leave you in peace.
Sorry?
Do excuse me, Professor. Professor, sorry to disturb you again. Professor, I have brought you something that should be of interest to you. Look.
What have you got there, then? Let's see. An effigy of a mammoth. But this is Hans' doll, is it not? Yes, of course it is. How on earth did you... Oh, my God. It's in my hands. It exists. It really exists. Please do excuse me. I'm deeply, deeply moved.
You see, your Hans and my Vorarlberg heir are one and the same.
This is incredible. After all these years, how can I ever thank you, my dear? Oh, I must waste no time. I'm off to my laboratory. I must study this carefully. May I borrow your treasure a moment?
Well, actually,
Don't worry, miss. I will take the greatest care of it. But I need to study it. You see, it has such importance to me that this very afternoon I shall deliver an impromptu lecture to my students about this very object. If you are interested in Hans Vorarlberg, then it is essential that you attend.
Do you think so?
Obviously. Give me your telephone number and I will call you the moment my lecture begins. I will return you your doll at the end. You have my word.
I don't need that for the time being. I don't need that for the time being.